Joe Biden, in response to the protests that have been going on, has been visiting some of the protests and going to black churches to talk to activists and religious leaders. And during that, he has talked a little bit about what he would like to see done in terms of reforms. There is some good stuff coming, especially from a speech this morning in Philadelphia, but some of it I would have probably kept to myself, worked on, and then resubmitted. Take a look at this.
And the idea that instead of standing there and teaching a cop when there's an unarmed person coming at him with a knife or something to shoot him in the leg instead of in the heart is a very different thing. There's a lot of different things that can change.
Okay, so he said unarmed. He said unarmed person with a knife. Do we think he meant an armed person and misspoke? It is difficult to tell. Biden struggles with the speaking. So I don't know, man. I don't know.
Yeah, I would say while that would perhaps be more understandable, I would focus on other parts of this process that don't glorify continued violence. I think he probably means, because we've seen people with knives shot dozens of times and killed. This is not the answer. I think we can just point that out. And look, maybe you're right. And look, I'm not one of the people who thinks I'm going to give the worst faith interpretation of everything Biden says so that people will think I'm cool. I don't do that.
Views, John. You need views.
Exactly. I need views. Well, I'm not going to get them. So don't worry about that. And like the people who are like pointing out him saying I'll beat Joe Biden when he clearly is saying I'll be Joe Biden. Like I'm not interested in that sort of dissection anyway. Here though, that should not have been a part, whether it was the thing I think he said or the thing you think he might have said, none of that should have been a part of this conversation. The aim is not the cop targeting a different part of your body when they pull the trigger. The aim is for cops to stop shooting people. And I think we can get there, and lots of countries are there right now. But
Joe Biden, this is who he is, right? He tries to find the exact middle of the conversation and put that forward as his point. So there's one side saying cops need to be basically completely demilitarized and defunded, which is where I'm at. And there's the other side saying, oh, the status quo is totally normal. And he's like, well, what if we could find a perfect middle ground between those two poles and they would just get shot in the leg as opposed to being killed? There we go. Everyone gets what they want. Happy day. That's Joe Biden in a nutshell.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what he's going to lead as the presumptive Democratic nominee. And if he wins the presidency, which polls indicate he's going to, which, I don't trust all polls, but by God, the country's on fire. So that's how he's going to lead. And certainly it's better than what we've got right now with a fascist wannabe, but it's also problematic, very problematic, and it's part of why we're here in the first place.
100%. And look, it's an area where, look, I've been talking with a lot of different progressive activists, and this is one area where they do think that Biden theoretically could make some good changes and would feel pressure to do so. There had been some efforts at the tail end of the Obama administration in this area, certainly not in all parts of this. I mean, we covered it, but this seems like an area where maybe he'll make some good changes. And I don't have all the details, but he gave a speech earlier today where he called on Congress to pass certain reforms, including outlawing chokeholds, stopping basically the militarization of police, taking excess weapons of war and vehicles and things like that from abroad and then bringing it back and giving it to the police. Better oversight and accountability, which is literally the least anyone could possibly ask for, and it's certainly not enough. I don't even want it on the list, but commits to creating National Police Oversight Commission in the first 100 days of presidency. Maybe that would produce something. So, is it what protesters are asking for? Obviously not. Trump is offering overwhelming force and the most ominous weapons the military has, so Biden is going to look to people like a better alternative, certainly.
And unfortunately, many of the gains that the Obama administration put forward were immediately rolled back by Donald Trump. So Obama stopped sending tanks and grenade launchers. Yes, that was a thing, to local police departments, a practice where excess military equipment was sent to police departments starting in the 1990s during the war on drugs, which Biden is in many ways partly responsible for. And it ramped up after 9/11, when there was a lot of military equipment as well. So we armed police departments to the teeth. And then Obama in 2015 rolled it back with an executive order. A lot of those weaponry was returned. And then immediately in 2017, Trump overhauled it. Luckily, we're seeing in Congress a bipartisan effort, at least in the Senate, with Rand Paul making it bipartisan because he agrees with this position. They're trying to make this more permanent in terms of taking back this militarized weaponry from police departments.
Yes.
But there's a very good chance that Trump would veto it. Joe Biden probably would not veto this. So there's a good indicator of the difference there.
Yeah, and look, in this area and in others, the thing that can be easily reversed by the new Trump administration can be de-versed by the next administration. And, you know, I automatically think about the dozens and dozens and dozens and dozens of environmental regulations that were put into effect under Obama and reversed under Trump. But there are some in this area as well that hypothetically could be quickly reversed, you know, even if the Senate doesn't go Democrat at the end of the year. Continue.
No, my point was just that, yeah, I mean, we're in this age of hyper-partisanship that I think oftentimes is, it's overstated because Republicans and Democrats do agree on a lot of things, but mostly it's from the Republican side where they vetoed everything that Obama put forward. Yeah. And it makes it very hard for permanent legislation to pass in this area. So that's why it was able to be undone so easily by Trump, because executive orders are flimsy. And that was the reality of the situation when Republicans controlled the House and the Senate when Obama tried to make those reforms.
For more political news breakdowns, interviews, stories of activism, and me trying my hardest to care about the occasional big celebrity news story, subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/The Damage Report. And you can ring the bell wherever it is so you don't miss anything.